My man's got the real deal in the background. Jesus, fire going. Where's the whiskey? I know it's there somewhere. And
Got
look,
the
we got a
bottled water.
homeless guy.
I'm the odd one out. Everybody else is sideways, but oh well.
Oh well, what are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you turn your phone sideways, it'll fix that.
That means I gotta adjust this mouse. Hold on. Here, you get to stare at me awkwardly then.
There you go. I mean, we're only live, so what the hell?
You know, what's details?
Ain't nobody watching this anyways. It's just us talking. Aha! There you go.
Where'd it go?
All right. Oh no! Oh,
Oh,
It was
No.
fine.
yeah, it was.
I don't know what happened.
Well, you went full screen, right? That's why.
Well, not anymore. I don't know what's going on.
This is awesome.
Isn't it? Technical difficulties and everything.
There has never been one episode that has never had a technical difficulty of
It's
some
so
sort.
dumb.
Oh, I love it.
There
it
we
is.
go.
All right.
All right.
There we go.
Yeah. All right.
Which way is which? There we go.
Fire it off. Yeah. Goddamn background's all crazy on me. But
Who's doing the intro?
well, you offered. That's the rule.
What's going on, people? We are live today on the Blue Collar Society podcast with Bryce Reddell from Thereallifereddells. Did I say that right?
Reddells. Close enough.
Reddells. Reddells. Okay.
Goddamn Spanish people. You know.
I've been called worse.
Oh, that's not good. Well, I'm sure after that video.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
The infamous video.
Oh, that was the first one. After that, we did one about people that don't use any nails or screws to hold doors in place when they install them. And I can't tell you how many people I ticked off with that. That was crazy.
Well, they're called Wi-Fi, you know.
Everybody was talking about, this amazing expanding foam that's adhesive and it just holds doors in place. And I was just like, oh, okay. So we don't use screws anymore.
Expanding foam. So if it expands, how does that keep the door plumb?
It doesn't. It squeezes in and then the door doesn't close. But all these people were telling me I was an idiot for putting screws behind the weather stripping to hold that in. I get a lot of people that drop into my comments that think I'm an idiot and I think they're idiots. So we'll just,
yeah. So the irony behind the irony behind the expanding foam was a learning lesson. So I needed to put foam around my door to seal it.
Right.
I didn't realize that there's a door and windows foam.
The blue can, yes. And if you use the red can, it expands and it actually pushes.
Oh, yes, it does. This was a fire door.
Fun.
Oh my God. I was sitting there. I had to take the molding out, get a sawzall, and cut the freaking foam out so that the door can go back to normal. Yeah. Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Hire a contractor, you know? Yeah.
Better just do it once and never make that mistake again. I mean, that's a good learning example too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I bought this house in 2019. When the hell did those cans come out?
They've been out for a while. I started work for Lowe's in 2013, and we've sold them at least that long. So, not to make you feel bad.
Damn, maybe I'm late. I'm late to the game then.
Yeah.
Or maybe my Home Depot just sucks and they only carried one.
Well, I will say it this way: there's a reason I went to work for Lowe's instead of Home Depot. But
I
still shop both. Hey, Home Depot did a brilliant thing when they got Makita and Milwaukee to be exclusive for them. So we still had signage in the top stock at Lowe's from when we used to sell them, but Home Depot got an exclusive deal with them. So
I thought they were DeWalt and Milwaukee exclusive, but Makita makes sense now.
No, Makita's over there. DeWalt is both, and as a matter of fact, DeWalt is owned by Stanley Black & Decker, who also owns Craftsman now. So it's all the same company.
Oh, we're going to start.
Fun things you learn when you work at Lowe's or Home Depot.
That's cool. But yeah, no, definitely the biggest topic we wanted to go over was should drywall be inside of a shower?
I mean, we can talk shit about tools too, though. I don't mind.
Yeah,
We can talk
that's a
sheetrock.
whole other episode. Oh yeah, trust me, we have memes. Josh of all trades will probably jump on this. Who knows?
That's hilarious. No, so yeah, I will say this. I should have put more context in my video. In Texas, it's technically illegal to use anything less than purple, which is the fiberglass reinforced sheetrock, in a shower or tub tile surround. And the people that jumped in those comments and were saying Schluter requires you to use plain face sheetrock or they won't warranty it. And I kept asking the same question. Show me the documentation. They can. That doesn't mean they require you to use it. So,
Yeah. Now, my biggest, my personal gripe with that, and I mean, I had to deal with it recently, was we've always gone back and forth of what's the most efficient system for a shower, both for the contractor and also the homeowner.
right.
You know, you don't want to give them the lowest, cheapest quality, but also at the same token, you don't want to give yourself 3 extra days worth of work just so you can put orange stuff on the walls.
Right.
So that was my biggest gripe, because putting drywall, so the whole process would be, there you go, he's back. So
I was talking this whole time. I was like, these dickheads are ignoring me.
No, he was just having difficulties. I'm like,
that's what you saw me. I was like,
I'm pointing my ears. I'm like, mute.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like for instance, drywall and membranes, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you've installed them, but it's like, you know, drywall, taping, priming, which I didn't know because you're supposed to prime it.
Right.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought you're supposed to just put it on the drywall like that, which I think you can.
The liquid membrane will stick to it. Yeah.
Right. I did not know that till I recently went to install a shower with it, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I primed it just like the directions say." I'm like, "Excuse me." Like,
what?
Can I see that booklet?
That's hilarious.
So that's what I see. Like, how many days does that process take? And also trying to do that by yourself, not an easy task. Holding that membrane up, getting mud everywhere, and once you stick it and it's not straight, now you got to peel the whole thing back off. It was just.
It's messy. And my whole point with that was, as a general contractor, time is money. And if I can get a project done, even if, Go Board, which is fiberglass sheeting, it's completely waterproof. It's $24. Regular sheetrock is $12. Purple sheetrock is $18 right now. So all these guys are saying it's a cost thing. That I can understand not wanting to do weedy, which is like $114 a sheet. And if you buy the kits, you're looking at like $3,000. I can understand that. They're very easy. They're very idiot proof. But when you've got something like Go Board that's already waterproof and you're just having to seal the seams and the corners, I can't understand wanting to have to seal everything. And like I said in that first reel, why would you start with chalk and paper as the foundation for your waterproof system when you're spending $8,000 to $15,000 for a walk-in shower? Why would you want to cheap out on the foundation of it? It just, my brain doesn't go there. And all these guys say that it's about saving the customer money or because it's Schluter requires it, which they don't. And yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, in Texas, there's 3 different sections that address it. And at a minimum, you have to use the purple sheetrock. And that's the lowest recommendation here in Texas.
That's code over here as well. The only time, like, even if you tear out a bathroom that had drywall on it, if you replace it, you have to use purple or green board.
Exactly.
So,
and it's supposed to be green board everywhere else in the bathroom. And that bathroom that we did, it was all regular plain face sheetrock. And it just kills me.
And the downside, and we've kind of come back to this, is, at least with Go Board, both sides, inside and out, right, is waterproof. So, what's a common thing? Your valve will leak, or if someone doesn't tighten the arm in all the way, what does it do? It leaks down, right? It'll still rot out the wood, but at least the
very least somebody
the won't fall off.
Hangs a picture frame on the other side of that shower head, and they drive a nail through the water pipe, which we've had happen before, and the whole wall turns to mush.
Yep. So, and there's no really repairing that. Like, you can't just dry it out. It's never structurally the same.
Correct.
So that was the issue that we had a discussion over was like, okay, you can waterproof one side, but what happens if the back side of it, for some A or B reason? I mean, we had one where he was here for that, and he came to New York, and the siding, whoever did the window, put a regular window in the shower close into the shower, not to the exterior, but the
And the weep
interior.
holes were on the wrong side.
And the weep holes were on the inside, so it was weeping water into the frame.
did.
And it's an older house, so they were using like a particle board to for the corners where they brace the corners.
Oh,
so she had termite, water damage, so the sheathing was gone. So by the time we finished demo, it was only
siding.
It was styrofoam and nails. There was nothing else holding that siding. And I told her, I was like, I am extremely busy. I cannot help you with this. You need to get a siding guy out here because they're going to have to take your entire siding off. And I can tell where the last contractor literally took like chunks of 3/4 plywood and like patched the holes of wherever the particle board wasn't.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you were right there.
That's an extra trip to be fair, it takes like 30 minutes to get to the hardware store.
It takes time to cut that thing down.
Honestly, especially when I first started, I had customers who had situations like that, and I would present them with 2 bids where, look, this is what needs to happen, but I can understand you probably don't want to spend that money. This is the very least that needs to be done. And we would do a hack patch job, but I would tell them, look, I'm sorry, this has all got to be fixed eventually. If an inspector looks at this, you're going to have to spend the money.
So this is what you should do, and this is what you can do.
Exactly. So we don't do much of that anymore because I don't really do the handyman stuff. We've moved to where, I mean, right now we're booked all the way through August with remodels on whole house. So I try to avoid usually those little patch jobs where people who are trying to get the house, they either just bought it or they're trying to sell it. So.
Oh, and it's never a simple job too. Every time we take a simple job, it ends up being this whole nother monster.
That's like you said, you pull the one thing off and then you see 16 other things that are rotten and you have to climb under the house. And I'm 6'5" and I don't like going underneath houses. So,
well, that's why you get a helper. It's like,
I had a guy who was about 5'8", and anytime I had to go under a house, I call him and say, "Hey, dude, $50, crawl under there and take pictures."
So I'm a little spider monkey. Come here.
Right now he makes 3,000 or 4,000 a week, and I can't afford him anymore. So,
rat tunnel, get in that hole, go. So how long you been in business?
So we've been doing Reddell Home Services, which is our formal business, since 2019. And before that, I did 6 months in the oil field as a project manager. And dear God in heaven, I am not an oil field guy. I had to do a 2-week stint in West Texas, which is 9 hours away from where we currently live. And it killed me because I'm a family man. I've got 3 kids, 17, 14, and 12. And my wife and I have been married 23 years. I chose this family. I want to be with my family. So I got out of oil field and never looked back. Yes, there's good money. It wasn't worth it for me though. But I did 6 years with Lowe's before that and 2 years in Houston just doing luxury backyard kitchens. So I've always been around construction. It wasn't until 2019 that being a contractor became my day job.
Now, 2019. So that's right when COVID broke out.
Yeah. So August, I think it was August 1st was my first project. Like we made 1,200 our first week, just replacing doorknobs and hanging mirrors for a lady. I mean, my wife was convinced at that point, okay, this is a viable job. And yeah,
you didn't have to invest so much time into it.
2019 in November, a guy approached us with a horse barn. He said, "Hey, look, we bought this horse barn. I've got a pipeline company. I need you to make this my corporate offices." And so we literally converted a horse barn, a nasty manure covered 2x6 plank, into a gorgeous rustic corporate office for an oil and gas pipeline company. And we finished that February 20th, right before everything shut down for COVID. So we were blessed because we had that paycheck that we had just finished. So that kind of helped us coast through. And yeah, 2020 was a wild year.
Yeah, I mean, I started in 2019 myself too. Like I was always in the trades somehow, some way. My dad was a contractor, but I never really wanted to be in the trades. So I was like, man, this sucks. Because I mean, also pre 2019,
Here we
nobody
go.
really wanted
I
to be
didn't
a
choose the trade
contractor.
life. The trade life chose me.
It literally did. And
Out
then
of pure necessity.
But in New York, COVID happened, and like now there's no contractors.
Right.
You can't find somebody that can actually you can find contractors, but you can't find a contractor that's going to like A, actually show up, or B, even be able to do the job.
You know what I mean? Over here, everybody and their dad is a contractor now.
Yeah, everybody's a contractor up here too. But then you start seeing. I mean, we've gone through Facebook and all the the mom and dad groups, and we see the jobs, and we're like, dear Jesus, these people, like especially the tile.
I get tagged in a lot of Facebook jobs, and I just kind of click like and then ignore it because those are generally the clients I don't like working for.
You see the pictures of all the Metabo guy work.
That's awesome.
You didn't hear that, Harry. You're talking about tools. I said, shut up. Your Metabo comes with a pension plan.
No, we've been very blessed. When I did handyman services, it always turned into, hey, since you can do this, what else can you do? And I don't talk a lot about this on Instagram or even Facebook anymore, but y'all know Chip and Joanna Gaines, Magnolia Network, Fixer Upper.
Mm-hmm. Who's that?
Who's that?
Oh,
Chip and I are first cousins. And so, when customers ask me what I can do, a lot of times I will say, I do what Chip does, just slower and without a film crew. So,
and an army of builders.
Right. Our business has just grown from referrals. I mean, I think last spring was the first time we even got a yard sign. And we had to do a website last fall because we put an ad in our local football program for Friday nights. And so I figured if I was going to tell them I exist, I better tell them how to contact me.
Where I exist.
Where?
We don't even have business cards. Everything's referral. And so even all of these houses we're remodeling, it's cousins or uncles or grandparents of other people we've worked for. So, I also point to that as a strong argument that I'm not an idiot and that all these people who gripe about the way I do things, I'm like, clearly the customers like the way I do things. So,
well, I mean, the internet is a savage place. And if you don't have thick skin, don't post a video.
Exactly.
Don't do it. Just don't, because you're gonna. I mean, I get called a hack all the time. Why are you using silicone instead of putty? Who uses Pro Press? You have no skill to use a Pro Press. That's gonna leak in 5 minutes.
Oh, and we antagonize them too, and they take it so seriously.
Oh, we love it. I mean, that's just we're there with a can of gas.
Waterproof. I just glue the pan to the floor with liquid nails.
Response videos, but I enjoy interacting with the trolls, but I only enjoy it so long as they show that they're actually human. Like if they go further and they continue just being nasty, I'm like, all right, you're blocked. I will play. I will be sarcastic and snarky. I can do snappy, witty things, but nobody has to agree with me. I like engaging with them, but if they're going to be nasty,
that's where me and you are different. I'm like, well, now I know that this offends you, so I'm going to make you so offended that you take this. You're going to lose sleep over this tonight, and I'm going to laugh while I'm on my phone. I'll text Omar and Harry a screenshot like, look at this.
I don't do that. I think I've yelled at 2 customer service associates in my entire life. Most of the time I'll reason with them. So
yeah, no, we just, you know what it is like, it's like they put a really bad comment and we go even further below that because like, oh, you're not a pro. I'm like, we're supposed to be pros. Like, I just watched a YouTube video, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, you just keep
too many of my people would believe me at that point, and they'd be like,
Yeah, what's even better is like when you have a comment and then somebody comments and it creates its own argument on the side and you're just watching it go down. Like these guys are like jabbing at each other. You're like, what's going on? It was about me. What happened?
Everyone's
exactly.
Spritz some
when you get
gasoline
ones where they've replied to a reply to a reply, but somehow you got tagged in it, and I'm like, what are you even talking about?
It's like
I'm not
comments.
Especially if you're off your phone for a while, like you're halfway in it and you come back and there's like 30 exchanges and you're like, well, how we're talking about politics. We were talking about tools.
Like, how do we go from waterproofing to like who's the next president? Like what happened here? Jesus.
The what will rise again? We're talking about tools.
Oh, we have our own well, at least I do, at least. is the DeWalt against Milwaukee jib jab that goes back and forth.
I follow working with Matt and Josh of all trades, and I think it's hilarious. The ones I get annoyed with are the people who make fun of the DIY people who own the cheaper tools. I'm like, they don't need a Hummer.
Right,
They don't need an armored transport to get their kids
like
soccer practice. They need just a Corolla, a cheap thing. Leave them alone.
It's okay. They don't need the Bugatti. They don't need the Bugatti. Just the Corolla will get them from point to point.
We need the hamsters and the wheel. That's it.
Oh man, no, that's. And you'll see arguments too. They're like, "No, go get the Milwaukee or go get the DeWalt. It'll last forever." He's like, "I just need to hang a picture, man.
I just need to last like a year. Battery's gonna go bad because it's drained before I even kill the drill."
Right. No.
Oh,
well,
I get the Makita that Larry
I got my
Hahn.
first Milwaukee's at Christmas, and I will say it's a drug. It's like crack, and you suddenly start going, "Oh, maybe I need another one. Maybe another one." I can justify that. But then, like, if you've seen my trailer, it's all Craftsman with some DeWalt mixed in. And now I'm like, I don't have room for the Milwaukee. I got to get another trailer. So, I mean.
Yeah, you got to.
It's like, well, I guess I got to buy a trailer.
Get another one.
Tape measure in there, man. You're all over the place with your tools.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
That's what happens when you close for 6 years. You buy whatever's on clearance.
There you go. I would think you probably end up with a lot of people's tools, though, at some point, too, right?
Yes.
This became mine. Yeah, this is mine now.
Well, and some people end up with mine. Like there used to be a demolition hammer that was like Stormbreaker, and it had this cool little groove in the head of the hammer where you could rip countertops off, and it was called Dead On, and it had like a sword at the other end. It was this crazy thing I found at Home Depot like 10 years ago, and I accidentally left it at a customer's home once, and he texted me and said, "Hey, you left your hammer." Had he said this evil-looking warrior device, I wouldn't know what he was talking about. But he just said hammer. I'm like, I don't need it. Keep it.
I'm pretty sure I saw this on Power Rangers.
Oh
shit!
Yeah,
so that's one that hurt. But yeah,
damn.
Yeah, no, that's.
I left a painting ladder on a job site once, but I was working for another company. It was about like 2 weeks later. I'm like, "Where's my 4-foot ladder?" Like, I'm in the trailer. Like, how do I like? It's a trailer. Where's my ladder? There's only one spot I hang it.
No,
I just stole the new guy's ladder.
No, I will say though, there is a couple.
New guy lost his ladder. Can you believe that?
Blame the new guys. Like, yeah, bro, where'd you put the ladder, man?
Yeah.
No, I've lost tools only because I either dropped them, like in cinder block. I had a tubing cutter, just did the perfect MJ.
Levels.
Went around the edge and straight down. I was like, all right, this is a donation to the house. Or down a drain when you're trying to do something. It's like your mind tells you should stuff a rag in this pipe because things may fall into it. Like, right. I got this. I'm a pro.
I've got that on film. Me tightening the flow effects drain. I'm in my head. I'm like, I should put a rag in there, and the wrenches go tink 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 tink, and you just see me go fuck.
I put the rag in not to keep myself from dropping things, but this is East Texas, man. There are roaches that will carry small children away. I don't want those things drain pipes. So that's the first thing. If I take a toilet out, the first thing, there's either a paper plate over it until I can find a rag, or there's a rag stuffed in there.
Yeah, that's like that's the New York City version of the New York City rat. Those things would carry a small child.
No, we had
I used to live in Houston, and 4th of July, as a joke, they just thought it would be cool to see what would happen if you dropped one of those little colored smoke bombs down the manhole cover.
Oh.
Don't do that. It's an apocalypse of roaches that come crawling out of it. That's what happens.
Oh shit!
Jesus.
Harry, you're gonna have to back this statement.
4th of July party. Everybody went. They were done.
You're gonna have to back this this statement up, Harry. So I met a guy, and it was the funniest thing I heard. And we were sitting there fishing, and we were going to rent a boat before we had a boat. And he's like, the lady was complaining about the mosquitoes, and the guy's like, "Oh, that ain't nothing. Where I'm from in South Carolina, we got mosquitoes big enough for fucking turkey." I'm like, what?
Oh my god!
I'm sorry, what?
The mosquito. There are some fucking like
not mosquitoes, mosquitoes. They're different.
There's some
southern.
Mosquitoes. Yeah. No, but they are the biggest fuck out here, man. They really are.
Now there's two horrifying things I've seen. One of them was in Florida, and I was at a camp or something. And one of my friends we were bunked in the same room, and all of a sudden I look in the mirror and there's this 6-inch long roach.
Oh, water bug.
And I was like, dude. And he threw something at it and it flew. And
no, when they start flying, you run.
And I was screaming like little girls because I didn't know roaches could fly until that moment. The other thing, lived in Nashville, and I don't know if I call them spider crickets. They look like grasshoppers.
Always in the crawl space.
Yes. They look like grasshoppers, and spiders mated and had these unnatural alien babies. And the house I lived in Nashville, the first night I was there, the breaker tripped. And I didn't have any clue where the breaker panel was. So my boss came over, and he and I were walking around with flashlights, and we find this door down the hill underneath the house and open it. And I shined the flashlight in, and I was like, I don't need electricity. I don't need power. Because every wall, it was like Indiana Jones. It was just covered with those spider crickets. And I was like, no.
Like, if it's damp and wet, we get that a lot in North Carolina with our like clay. Man, you go in there, and they're just like all there. And you're like, ah.
Yeah. And I know they're harmless, but no, that's just a little too much.
I don't care. As soon as they touch you, like, what? Like a come arm off.
Yeah, no, I actually had to go into a basement that was covered in that because that was the only access to the drain, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
I'll get the Tyvek suit on at least and put the hoodie on, and I was like, all right, if they jump in the Tyvek suit, that's cool. They jump in the back of my shirt down my neck, you're gonna see the fastest Hispanic ever run out of a basement. I was like, all right, it's fine. They're cool. They don't bite. They're cool. They just jump. They're cool.
No, see, wait, and again, where are you located, Bryce? If you don't mind sharing.
I'm in East Texas, Carthage, which is about 45 minutes west of Shreveport.
Okay, so
if you look at the map of Texas, the right-hand side where there's a straight line going down, and then it hits the squiggly line, I'm right there.
Got you. Yeah, no, I'll be in the crawl space, man. Just because I'm surprised, Omar. I know we got some weird evolution of creatures out here in the South. But no, I'll be in the crawl space doing my thing, and you look over, and there's like a wolf spider there, or like that little cricket thing, and you're like, okay, and you start like crawling with your shoulder blades, doing a little run. You're like, I'm out. You're bruising your elbows and stuff on the way out.
Well, right here, there's supposedly a lot of snakes. I've been very fortunate. We found, I think, 2 in our yard in the 10 years we've lived here, but they've always just been little garden snakes. But I'd be done with the job site if I ran into a snake under a crawl space.
I love when the crawl spaces are completely finished.
Oh, like the encapsulated one?
I haven't had one of those. We don't have basements here, so I don't get that. Yeah.
Oh man, you walk into one of those. Well, you crawl into one of those crawl spaces that's completely encapsulated, and it's got the fucking dehumidifier over there, and
you have to worry about mud.
Man, you feel like you can just set up a nice little picnic under there, man. Just like shit. This is,
and it's usually really cool. That's the best place to be in the summertime.
Yeah, you do. Turn the light on. It's like, man, I don't even need a flashlight.
I can eat off this floor.
There's a reel on that.
I get the one where you have to move the potted plant, and then pull the lattice off, and then it looks like a cinder block is missing, and that's what you have to crawl through.
Oh, jeez, Chris.
My next door neighbor asked me to go fix something at his old house before he sold it. I said, absolutely, man, anything for you. I show up, and he points to the crawl hole, and I was like, I don't know if we can be neighbors anymore. I may just have to move. I don't.
I'm selling the house.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure this is how.
I don't know if I like you this much. Yeah.
And
no.
This is a cartel tunnel. I'm not going in there. This might lead into a prison.
Right.
I'm not going there.
This is one of those true crime story movies, and I don't want to be the victim in it. So.
Oh my god.
Let's go explore.
Now with the waterproofing, which is your preferred method of waterproofing?
I like Weedy if the customers can afford it, just because it's so lightweight, it's so easy. Even when you cut it, it doesn't create a lot of dust and irritant. It's just, I love it. It's easy. It takes half a day to do an entire shower, walk-in shower. If they can't afford that, Go board would be the next best one for me. I like simplicity. I know Curdy makes a Curdy board.
The only thing I don't like about Curdy is it feels like you can pull the membrane off, and they did have an issue a while back with the membrane delaminating from the foam.
Yeah,
and also the cost that's associated with it. I mean, for some reason we can't seem to beat I have yet to see something that beats the Go board system for price to performance.
Yeah.
So, and I think everybody here, Harry, you use the Go board too, right?
Yeah, I love Go Board.
So, and now that Lowe's has it, it's available like
$24 a sheet, 25.
$24.97 in my area.
Yeah.
Unless you buy 24 more.
I can
pay
actually
28.
But
I'll just buy a pallet of it. I'll use that stuff, and I get a discount.
yeah.
So,
yeah, man. And I love that it allows you to use like I think there's like 5 or 6 other sealants that you can use. And if you go on their data sheet, it names every single one of them. And
or topical.
One that I like, the OSI Quad Max, that's only $10 a tube compared to their $16, $17 per tube for theirs.
Oddly specific. You know what's funny, Harry? So let me know if you ran into this. In my area, right? They only select Lowe's would carry Go Board. Now about half of the Lowe's carry Go Board, but none of them would ever carry the sealant. And the one by my house carries the sealant and the washers, but they don't sell the Go Board.
Yeah. Having worked for Lowe's, I can tell you it's very frustrating. There's a stupid computer that tells you what sells and what doesn't. And if they never carry it because somebody didn't know to order it, it never sells and it never gets ordered. And
that's like Walmart has that. It's called The Wire. When I used to work at Walmart, they do the same thing of like if something gets stolen enough, the system will automatically order a security box.
Right.
So
yeah,
but that's pretty wild. Yeah, no. So with Go Board, you could also use reinforced fabric and topical because that's one of the JC Tile does that a lot whenever he's dealing with subways. He doesn't want the sealant because also I've been meaning to do this test and I just don't have the time. But because one time I did a niche and I had to obviously cover it in the sealant. Well, the tile didn't adhere to it.
Yeah.
It popped off. So I ended up having to
do well against that sealant.
Right. Yeah. So I had to end up basically priming everything with topical and then it adhered. So then we went on a search for sealers that were better when we went to coverings last year. And we found Hydroblock. I don't know if you're familiar with that system. So Hydroblock, on the other hand, it's more like a cement-based sealant.
It is. That's what Weedy, the foundation of the Weedy system is. It looks like it's a mortar product. Yeah.
Right. So I found that one actually works better. And the fact that it's water, it cures with water. So because, whenever I do my custom niches, I'll tile 3 rows below, make sure all the tiles line up, cut my niche, put it in, and then you'd have to wait a day. But you could spray water into the sealant and it cures like instantly.
That is cool.
So it saves you on time. I didn't know that until I tried it. But comparison, have you used Hydroblock before?
I have not. No.
The trick is you glue the tile on the wall with the sealant. Bonding, which in all honesty would probably work. I'm not even lying.
I don't doubt that it would work, but yeah, once it is cured, it's slick. Yeah.
Like you can do it, but you shouldn't do it.
I mean,
you mean the guys who were saying that you can waterproof cardboard? I'm like, are you suggesting that you would use cardboard in a walk-in shower? Because I'd like to call your customers and warn them.
Yeah, well, actually, so a lot of the tile places that I go to, they kind of use that as an example. They'll use the sealant and they'll spread it on there, or they'll paint the topical. Like it's cool. It's in theory. It's like the cardboard is just pretty much holding the structure of the of the paint, the roll-on membrane, right? The topical membrane, but the membrane's doing the waterproofing. And of course, if it ever got wet, you'd see it immediately. But using the analogy is like waterproof cardboard. It's like, yeah, I don't want you in my shower.
Yeah. No,
we go waterproof.
It was only meant to show that it doesn't leak. It didn't say like, "Hey guys, go to the recycling center, get as much cardboard as you can, and build a shower with it."
It's Jurassic Park. Jeff Goldblum. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
You should. Oh my god, I'm sure there's a video out there on YouTube somebody building a shower with cardboard.
I don't doubt it. I mean, like here in East Texas, there are some very strange rednecks who do crazy things. I mean, we went in a house last spring where when the homeowner bought the house, he sent me the real estate, the listing photos. And I told him, I said, hey, in one of your bathrooms, there's water stains on the ceiling. We're going to have to get in the attic to see what that's about. An hour later, he sent me photos from inside the attic, and there was a giant Rubbermaid tub underneath this 4-inch PVC pipe full of stagnant water, and the PVC pipe was coupled with duct tape. Somebody thought that was brilliant. And then there was the drain line from the HVAC in that same house was electrical tape. So they thought it was better to use duct tape and electrical tape than to just go buy PVC glue and just be done.
Man.
Sometimes MacGyver shouldn't do plumbing.
The guy that owned the house owned a hardware store around here. A chain of hardware stores. I'm like, either he was just that cheap, or that's why that hardware store's not in business anymore. I don't
know. Electrical tape will work on a pinch
for like a week
until it dries out.
No, it's like literally
until you
that's
leave.
One of those, like,
till that
that's like if I get called.
expires.
That's like if I get called for an afternoon leak under the sink. What's that called? JB Weld and electrical tape. That'll get you through the night until the next day when we can tear it out.
JB Weld keeps the John boat watertight.
But then you get you don't have to come back phone call and you're like, wait, what? This is a temporary fix.
You don't have to come back.
You don't have to happen. Like,
we good. We good.
We're good. You don't have to come back. I'm like, what? This is a temporary fix. Like, now we're good. I'm like, all right, you're sick.
When I worked in Houston, we got called to an office building and they said that they had a leak, and we climbed up in their attic and somebody had used heater hose, like automotive heater hose, as a coupler between two PVC pipes, which then it got hot, it got cold, it got hot, cold, and it dried out and was just spraying water in all directions as it cracked.
Nice.
That's like exhaust tape. I mean, exhaust tape would probably work in all honesty, for a little bit. But I mean, to leave that hidden, I mean, it'd be one thing if you're like, hey, you got me a late call. This is going to hold off till the morning. I'll come back and fix it. Because in that case, it's like, I'll duct tape the shit out of it.
Like, then they get the phone call. We're good. You don't have to come back.
Or like, what is it called? A gecko tape. It's like a tape that sticks to itself. We've used that on a couple pipe repairs. And it's like, this will hold it up long enough for the plumbing company
designed to seal. But
yeah. Well, that you could actually probably leave longer term, but we always used it and be like, the plumbing company's going to come in the morning, come next week to fix it. It'll hold it off till then.
Right.
So,
no, we
fucking Flex Seal.
2021, I think.
Flex tape and Flex Seal works.
Snowpocalypse, everybody's pipes busted, and you couldn't get anything to fix because everybody was sold out.
Right.
That was a fun time. Right? I was very glad not to be a plumber at that point, actually.
Yeah, that was because I had a friend of mine. He had a like $1 million house somewhere in Texas, and he showed me pictures that the fish tank froze. A giant fish tank broke all over the hardwood floor, and tiles picked everything up because the floor froze. His toilet froze it. Everything. He was like, "I'm being put in a hotel. They're having to renovate the entire first floor. It was insane." He's like, "The insurance company is pissed."
And Omar's like, "It's only a foot of snow." Gosh, guys, calm down.
Yeah.
Well, you shut down Texas,
but it was also 2 weeks of, sub-freezing temperature, so everything just got there and stayed there. Yeah.
But how deep
here, nothing happened at our house. I mean, I think we lost power for a day, but I mean, we had heaters and we had generators, so everything was fine.
So in Texas, what's the code for burying a water line, like a main water line?
It's like 18 inches below the frost line.
I think it's 18 inches, yeah. Because we just had to do one a year ago for a house that had meth heads in it, and they had ripped everything.
Meth heads.
Copper.
Dude, they took the freaking doors off of the house. And when we took down all the sheetrock off the ceiling, I kid you, there were probably at least 250 needles. They were conscientious drug users, though, because they put the caps
They have standards,
They did have standards. They put the safety caps back on. So, I mean, nobody got pricked doing that cleanup. But, yeah, they had clogged up all of the drain lines in the entire house. The toilets were solid. It was like brick, plaster. So it went. Everything went.
We just took it out.
We didn't have to put the little gel in there. There was nothing to solidify. It was already solid. But, yeah, we had to replace the main lines, all of the drain lines and everything. And
no, I only asked because with the big, concrete down the drain.
I know it's a big thing, especially for like squatters or renters that are getting kicked out. Concrete. I saw one video. One guy, the meter box outside where the city is, he filled it with Quikrete, and the city had to come knock it out, tear out the curb, and redo it. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, that's when the city goes after that person. But No, we didn't really have a lot of problems. This last cold spell we just had, we did have here in Carthage, the main city water main, they had leaks in, I think, 3 different locations that they had to dig up and repair. But usually all of the flooding and all of the pipes breaking is in the exterior walls in the homes. We usually don't have problems with mains. So.
I was just asking because, I mean, being that it's a warmer climate area, I don't know if regulations change. I mean, here in New York, you wouldn't be able to do that. You'll freeze right away.
Right.
Because that, from my plumber side of it, I was just thinking, I was like, because I see a lot of videos on Instagram too, where they like bury the pressure reducing valve in the ground. Like that's not sanitary whatsoever. But why would they bury that outside? Like it's got washers.
I've seen them where there's a utility box around it, but I've never seen it bury it.
It's usually deeper too, below the frost line.
Yeah, because I see the utility box, but like, I mean, by the time you get to it, that thing's filled up with mud and all kinds of stuff. So you might as well bury it in the ground.
So
no,
I mean, we don't have that issue. You know, you can ask Harry. In the Carolinas, we get the very cold, freezing winters of 74 degrees, and you know it almost shuts down the state. And it's bad. I mean, people almost froze to death. You know, it got down to 73 this year, and
shut down the state.
Wait a minute.
No, I'll make fun of Omar. He's like, it's 30 degrees. I'm like, damn, dude, it's cold over here too. It's like 50. And he's like, fuck you.
It was like 35 or 40 the other day. I was in I was like t-shirt. I was like, all right, I gotta get some shorts on. I mean,
it was
getting hot out here
today. I'm like, I don't like it. Winter forgot how to winter. So
no,
now it's like 40 outside. That's why I got the fire going. But
must be nice.
Well, I bought the firewood. I might as well burn it.
True.
Priorities.
No, until we hear it, we got hit with a recent wave of cold, but it's weird. Like we're supposed to be getting snow, but we're just getting rain, like continuous rain.
Nope. And that's what shuts them down.
Yeah, we had flooding last week. Monday through Thursday, it rained nonstop. It's great.
So get close to 0 up there, Omar?
No, it's not 0. It's in the I think I seen 9 degrees was the lowest that is hit thus far. But all this rain, then freeze, then thaw out, then rain and freeze and thaw. It would like literally when it was raining, it would go up to like 38, so it won't freeze, and then at night it would drop to like 9, so it turns into a sheet of ice. Like the accidents, and then like electrical poles are coming down, the wires are snapping, trees are coming down.
Well, even before the cold, like the rain. Put it this way. We're in the Carolinas. Harry knows this. We get hurricanes are a normal thing, right? It's like, okay, let's get some stuff. If you're in towards the coast, you got to board up some things, right? But it's like it's just rain, right? You know, we got our thing. And they treat snow like we treat hurricanes, right? It's a normal thing. It happens. But they react to hurricanes like we react to snow. It's like, ah, shit. What is the rain doing that? Why is it moving slow? Shut it down. Shut it down. I mean, when I was up there, he was like, yeah, this is the rain that almost wiped us out last time. I was like, dude, I can still see out my windshield. This ain't nothing. Like, have you ever had rain so bad that your windshield was white? And if it wasn't white, it was pink because the taillights in front of you were diffusing off of your white windshield. Like,
I grew up in West Texas. If you've never been through a mud storm, you've not lived.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, it's when the thunderstorm and the dust cloud meet and it rains mud and you cannot see. All you can do is pull over and just sit there until it stops. It was wild.
Jesus. See, now when he was here, the thing is that where I live, especially, it's kind of like hilly and mountain, but there's a lot of swamps around my area, like a lot. So when it rains for 3 days straight sideways, those swamps tend to want to grow like really, really big.
Right.
So we have we have a hill where everybody's driveway was gone. Like they literally just washed it all away.
A mudslide.
Literally like a mudslide. There's one house you could actually see the foundation on one side because it washed all the dirt off the foundation. And somehow his lawnmower still started, even though it was like under like 3 feet of water. I don't know how, but he was out there cutting the grass.
That ain't nothing, Omar. Harry, tell them about our floating mobile homes. We have businesses that'll tow your mobile home back to its foundation when it floods.
Jesus Christ.
My
Talk about
double wide's
relocating.
down the street. They got to pull a record to drag that bitch back on.
Dude, that's got to be the most awesome conversation when you call the
I'm
insurance
like, how
company. It's
do
like,
you
"Where's your
name it?
house?"
Home reclamation? What do you?
Mother
It's like,
Nature
"Where's your-"
repossessed the home.
When Mother Nature repossesses, call us. We'll get it back.
Oh my! Because it's like you call the insurance company, you're like, "Where's your house?" Well, it was next year. Now it's
Well,
about a
it
few
went
blocks.
mobile. It does what mobile homes do.
It went mobile.
Um,
Oh god!
they make
No,
special
that's
straps and anchors to tie your mobile home down to the earth.
oh god. Now with the showers, do you do mud beds or foam pans or both?
All
Like
of ours are
Weedy.
usually the foam pans. Like the one that we ran into out there was going to have to be the mud bed. We actually excused ourselves from finishing that project. It was all kinds of fun. And I think, honestly, the way things went, I think she was hoping to not replace the sheetrock and just find somebody that would do that. So,
Damn.
more power to her.
Strong-willed.
So
Okay.
when it comes to your pans, foam versus mud, it's situational for you.
It is. Usually, there's another crew we work with. Like February 9th, we're going to start a whole house renovation, and they want a wet room where the whole half of the bathroom is the walk-in shower, and the bathtub is actually inside the shower.
Oh
And
yeah,
so they were wanting a quick turnaround. Like they literally texted and said, "Hey, we're closing on the 9th. Is there any way we can move furniture in by the 21st?" And I texted back and said, "I'm assuming you mean February 21st, in which case, absolutely not." But we called in a friend, and he's actually going to do all that, and he does mud pans for everything. But yeah, he's going to do the bathrooms. I'm okay letting go of that because we've got so much going on. I don't want to do a bathroom in a hurry for somebody who wants to move in 11 days. So
Ugh. A whole wet room in 11 days.
yeah, plus all new flooring.
I can do it.
Paint the kitchen
I'll be back,
cabinets and peel wallpaper off all the walls before we paint the walls. So
I don't tear it out at that point. If they
Just
want it
tear
done
it out.
fast, it's going to cost them more.
Just tear it out. Just don't even bother. Just cut the whole thing off.
Jeez.
yeah.
Yeah, no. See, like, I guess the last few customers I've ran into, they're still in the pre-COVID days where, $5,000 in a coffee and a donut will get you a brand new like 10 by 9 fat bathroom with a walk-in shower, freestanding tub, and heated floors. And then also the timing. They're like, "Oh, you can't do this in a week." Like, no. No.
I tell my customers, look, I can give you a bid now, but it's probably going to be 3 to 4 months before you see me again.
Yeah. Well, not only that, just the timeline. Like on average, what would a bathroom take you guys? How long would it take you?
At least 2
Start
to 3
to finish.
weeks.
Right. That's about average for we guys, 2 to 3 weeks. I know there are guys who do like 5-day bathrooms, but again, it's not a full gut. It's only a remodel, which that's another thing that I've always wanted to like get people's input. Remodel versus renovation. What are the definitions on that?
I would say a renovation is when you have to demo it. You got to go back to bare studs and
bare bones.
Like we're fixing to have to do one where their bathtub is literally sinking. It's a pier and beam house.
Jesus.
So we've got to take the bathtub out, rip up the flooring, and redo all the joists before we can even do anything to the bathroom. So.
See, for me, if we're replacing your wall coverings, it's a renovation, right? We're not changing the layout. If we're changing the layout, doing structural work, it's a remodel.
Right.
Because we're changing the model and the layout of it. So I usually refer to it as, we're working on your project until we figure out what the scope is. Then it's like, all right, this is actually, you can use them interchangeably because honestly, homeowners use them interchangeably. Yep. But I do think there is a definitive difference between it. So remodels are going to cost more for them in most cases.
Right. When I was at Lowe's, the average, and again, this was pre-COVID, but we would tell people expect to spend at least $30,000 on a kitchen and at least $10,000 on a bathroom. So.
I went to go do a thing for a kitchen, wanted like cracked slab because we're in the South and everything's on a slab and concrete does what it does. So we were going to do some Blanky permat, all new tile, cabinets, New Island, and I did the math for me as a contractor with my distributor pricing. $10,000 in cabinets and trim, just alone, not including the countertops. And of course, they wanted nice granite countertops. And
anywhere from 4,000 to 6,000. Yeah.
Oh, it was a really large space. I told him, I was like, hey, you'll get about 40,000 for the quality of material that you want, the tile that you want, all in. And they're like, oh, we were only expected to pay around like 15,000 to 16,000. I was like, your cabinets for me are $10,000.
You're painting your cabinets yourself, and you're going to buy the cheapest
countertop. You're gonna assemble those cabinets first.
I'm put LVP over your cracked tile.
Find somebody with a laser cutter that will cut them out for you, because that's what you can afford, right?
Oh,
Not even that. That's too. No, it's like you can go to the restore place, and they're going to be mismatched colors.
Right. Yeah. I've sent several customers when their designs exceeded their budget. I've sent them to the Goodwill resale shop, or not Goodwill.
Oh, see, I sent them to Lowe's and Home Depot.
Has resale shops down here. I don't know why I get them mixed up. It's Goodwill, Habitat, Hope, whatever.
Yeah, Habitat for Humanity, whatever they sell. I've seen they have a lot of tile in there. They got a lot.
Well,
no, they don't do it.
I know for Lowe's, whenever we had our non-performing inventory and the special order returns that we couldn't sell, all that stuff we had to throw away or donate. And so we would always donate it to the Habitat shop. So you'll find some nice stuff in there. But
no, that's crazy. Yep. Damn. But I've seen it because the commercial, New York City has like smaller commercial refrigerators in their apartments because obviously, you're renting a closet for $3,000,
right?
And it's bad. But they have them.
That's all this requires.
Whenever they renovate the apartments in New York City, they usually get them, so you can go there and get actually like industrial like refrigerators for your house, which is pretty cool. So like cheap for $1, or at least a garage fridge where you just store all your beer. But picking up tile, I don't know. I guess if you're in a pinch.
Now, interesting enough, I guess to bring this up, since we're talking about waterproofing, Harry had a pretty interesting situation of trying to identify whether it was waterproofing or if he was waterproofing or primer. Did you ever find out what that waterproofing was, Harry? Did you ever?
Dude,
gray topical.
I think they used something that was not meant to be used in a shower, because I even I reached out to Rocksteady and I asked them, like, can you help me identify what product was used behind this tile? And he's like, man, 10 years ago we weren't using nothing but Aqua Defense and Red Guard. So.
And it was gray. It looked like it was some type of gray paint on. It was rolled for sure.
It was rolled on. Yeah, because you can
was
see
it rubbery?
No, it felt really like I couldn't even really get my nail into it. It was pretty solid, but it was right over drywall.
What it looked like, Bryce, and the best thing I came up with when you sent the picture is it looks like the Mapei Eco Prime grip, the primer.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like. I told him, I was like, touch it. Does it feel sandy or scratchy? And he said no. So I was at a loss for words. I was like, man, I don't know what it is, but that's what it looks like to me because it dries gray.
Smooth like paint. Don't get me wrong, but it didn't really feel gritty. Like it was like it didn't feel like grout or anything like that. So I don't know, man. That stuff was just got me, man. I was like, what the hell?
Whatever it is, it's not there now.
Right.
No, they're not redoing the. He just wants me to regrout the floor and all the corners where I told him.
Oh, you're just repairing that drywall. You're replacing it with?
I'm replacing the ceiling drywall.
Why?
Because there was regular drywall used in there.
And what happened?
Dell's code, is it 5/8? Is that what you have to have, or?
No, 1/2 inch. It's 1/2 inch up there.
Really?
Yeah.
Here we have to get 5/8 on the ceiling.
In North Carolina, it's 5/8 on ceiling, 1/2 inch on the wall. But a lot of people, they're doing patchwork. What they'll do is they'll put 1/2 inch on the ceiling and they'll just skim the extra 1/8.
Weird.
You think I'm playing?
The
still 5/8
clients that are doing their own remodel, but they wanted to tear out 2 walls around their kitchen and they just didn't know if they could or not. They had a truss system, so nothing was load bearing. So we ripped it out for them. Yeah. and they asked us to not do the ceiling because they said their father is going to come and put in lights for them, and then he'll do the mudding and close up the ceiling. And I've already warned them. I said, you're going to have an interesting situation because it's 5/8 over here, but it's only 1/2 inch here. And so you're going to have a nice little slope
bridge,
on
a
all
bridge.
these corners.
If your dad doesn't know how to feather, he's going to learn.
And with those new lights, it's going to be very obvious what's happened. So,
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
With the brightness on the LEDs, you can see it right away. That's like when you go into a restaurant and you see a Subway job and they decide to put a light like right up against it.
And you can see where they all stick out.
Oh,
Yeah.
it is. Okay, Subway in itself is never going to be like flat perfect. It just unless it was a really old school like 4x4 job, that's the only time. But the 3x6s plus the quality control that we have now is like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
It's warped. So you're never gonna get a true perfect one, but to put an actual light right up against it, like showcasing it like a modern masterpiece, is like, okay, you're gonna see
always
everything.
use grout float when we're putting them in, just so that everything's
smooth it out,
smoothed out, and leveled down.
See, and that's the time you notice it, and everybody knows as soon as you go in the bathroom. It seems like, I don't know if it's just a guy's thing. When you go into the urinals in public spaces, you're sitting there just like,
you notice everything.
What the hell?
What kind of 3-finger monkey did this job?
I don't use my kids' bathroom because there's one wall where like the trim should be like this, but it's like this. Like the wall is crooked right between the little linen closet and the bathtub. And I'm like, I can't.
Put your head in bed.
It drives me nuts. I'm like, it was a 78-year-old man that flipped this house before we bought it. And I'm like,
it's level.
It was level if you weren't, you know.
It's level, but I got neck problems.
It's all about the angle.
Oh man,
you just gotta like just look at it. You know what I mean? Like it'll level itself out.
Change your perspective, and everything looks fine. That's right.
Yeah, that's it. You know, like the house that I live in, it's 1960s, original owners, and the owner built the house. I'm pretty sure just because of the amount of nails per stud this man put. Like this is actual real lumber too, so like putting a drill bit through it just burns them out. This is some good lumber. So but then it's like he would like 4 nails on each side and then toenail 2 on each side too. Like, dude,
Lord,
who hurt you? Like,
right? Yeah. He must have had a house fall down on him when he was little. I don't know. It's crazy.
And when I emptied out the attic, he saved every single receipt per nail that he actually put into this house. It was like suitcases upon suitcases of receipts. And I asked the family, I'm like, do you
all
guys
hand nailed in?
Dude, I was like, the plumbing was all backwards, so that's how I knew it was a homeowner special. But other than that, everything else was like, at least he hired somebody to do the foundation. That was the only thing. I was like, I just don't do that. You know, it could get scary, but thank God up here it's, I guess the further north you go on New York, like once you pass where I live and you're almost upstate New York, I want to say.
What,
there's the Wild
regulations?
West. No, they don't have nothing. Like my dad's gone to houses where like we found the brown electrical wire, you know, the extension cords from outlet to outlet because it was the cheapest thing they could find at the time.
Just lamp cord, basically. Yeah,
basically, and like they literally cut the ends and then they put them into the outlets, and it was just, he's like, it was from one to the other on 1x2 walls.
I've opened up electrical that a homeowner did, and it was like stranded wire jumping in between. It's like speaker wire, and it's like, oh yeah, a family member did it. And I was like, don't take this the wrong way, but did they touch anything else in this house?
Right,
because I can check it while I'm here.
We talked about that. The old man that flipped this house when we first moved in. First thing I noticed was when you turned on the light in the bedroom, the switch got hot, and so I had the first week we lived here, I had to go through and rewire all of the switches. Like if you went in the kids' bathroom and there's 4 switches, if you flipped any one of them, everything turned on. It just had a daisy chained.
No,
that's awesome.
No, we did one. We did one job, right? So we had to, I'm pulling the light out of the wall, right? And there's wire nuts in the wall. I'm like, all right, we got to fix that. So we're going to run a junction box at the attic, make sure it's done right, bring it up to code because it's getting inspected. So, we're sitting up there and everything gets cut, right? And we're looking at the wires, it's old cloth wiring. So we're like, all right, this is what it's supposed to do. And we hook it up. We go to the breaker and test it. I'm like, all right, turn it on. You turn the breaker on. It goes, I'm like, okay. Like it just vibrated, and this whole house is done with cloth wiring, so we're not going to try to learn about Ohm's law today. So we went up there. We ended up tearing all the receptacles out, and a family member had remodeled the bathroom, and like everything was ass backwards. So we had to custom label everything and whatnot. And I'm we were up there. We're like, all right, this is what it's supposed to be, and they're like, all right, this is what it is. Like there's so much done that we can't reverse the wires and polarities are swapped.
Right.
Things were jumped off the wrong way. We had a receptacle that only worked if you flipped a switch, and that switch only worked if you flipped another switch. And
let's bring it back. Flashbacks.
Some of it was only stranded wires.
ESD, because we had a house similar to that. We took a light down in what used to be their breakfast area, and we had built a wall, and it was now a bonus room. And when I went to change out the light fixture, I pulled the light down. And I kid you not, there's 8 pairs of wires all connected to that one light. And so Jesus. I had to separate them out and then one at a time go flip the breaker, trying to figure out where all of those wires went. Never got that wire working properly. Could not figure it out, because it's the same thing where positive was negative and, neutral was hot, and it was all over the place. And we ended up, I told him, I said, look,
the
I'm
fuse
just going
didn't
to pop
together. It works. No.
You need to get a light with a remote control, because the switch is never going to do anything to this. It was awful.
Yeah, I hate when the one bathroom you were here for, the ones that were on vacation, they ran a wire from the outlet switch, but they didn't cut the wire. They just jumped it.
It was all like 14.2.
Right. So they literally jumped the wire and back into the light and back into the switch down into the line. It worked.
It'd be like that in the Carolinas here. Some redneck goes there. Oh yeah, I've done it. And it's like, well, the whole like extension on the house is like jumped off of one receptacle.
Bro, that kitchen,
it worked.
The sheathing turned into shrink wrap because the wires got so hot.
That kitchen I just did, when I had to freaking do all the electrical in there, I was so mad when I found out that this guy from the page Built With Tools, he posted about this tool that they have that you can put one end of it's a 2-piece thing. So it's a transmitter that you plug into your outlet, and then you have
it's a Klein tool.
And so literally the week after, I spent a full day running back to the panel to find out what outlet was
that don't work with old houses.
On what where on the panel. Literally, man, I spent a whole day just trying to figure out which freaking thing on the panel corresponded to whatever outlet I was working on. The week later, he posted this damn tool, and I'm like,
the circuit breaker locator.
I had Omar buy one of those.
I have
when
2
I was up
sets
there.
of them, man. Those things are amazing. I tell every homeowner, I can label your box for you, but I'm going to charge because it's going to take half a day. Or you can go spend $25 on this thing and do it yourself.
I think it was like 50 for the Klein one. But the thing is, it doesn't work on old houses. And I was just going to say this before Harry brought up the tool. Is I was at the house, right? And, they'd remodeled or added a bathroom in. And I'm running the breaker finder, right? I'm like, oh, there it is. And I flip it and the kitchen light turns off, which is where I'm at. I'm like, well, that's not right. I turn it back on.
You have
and I never found the breaker
to calibrate it. Because it'll do that. It'll false positive on a couple of different.
Oh no, it wasn't false positive. It was right. It was on the same circuit. But the bathroom is on the other side of the house. I'm like, how the hell?
They tied into the wrong circuit.
Yeah. So no, what happened is I went to the attic because they added a bathroom in, right? Mm-hmm. So I go look at it, right, and I go over to the kitchen area, and I'm like, oh, there's a piece of Romex, and the whole house done with cloth. I'm like, oh, let's follow it. Like, no shit. What do you know? It was right. That $50 tool was worth it because you're sitting there and I'm like, kitchen's on the other side of the house. Flip. Oh, that's not right. This fucking thing. Return it.
Beat on it.
Yeah. And it took me like an hour because I'm like, dude, nothing show. I've started flipping breakers. And just, I'm changing receptacles, and at this point, I'm not keeping track of what I've already tested. Right. So I'm just popping in different receptacles to find something that works. And I'm like, all right, half the house is turned off. And like, none of these are right.
Kill the main at that point.
Like, is this thing reading the ground? It's just reading the whole house.
Identify all those breakers, but there's always at least 1 or 2 that you can't figure out what in the heck they're for.
Yeah.
They're just mystery breakers.
They're connected to the
doesn't
GFCI
turn
in the
in.
garage.
It's hidden somewhere.
Oh, that's a fun
whenever I
fact.
see
You ever
those
had something tied
breakers-
into a GFCI in the garage and you never found the GFCI? I spent an hour looking for it. I called my electrician buddy and I go to where they had. I'm just sitting there like defeated, looking at the thing. I'm like, all right, it's not the water heater one, and I see these cabinets that are poorly installed, right? And I'm like, like there's a receptacle on every wall except where those cabinets are. I open up the doors, nothing. In between the filler piece, they took the plate off. You have to reach into the filler and reset it. And dude, like an hour and a half went by. I went to the crawl space. I mean, I was tracing wires from the garage to the crawl space. This is like a 4,000 square foot house. I mean, I'm just pissed off, and I couldn't find this breaker. And then and I was like, well, I'm just gonna add a GFCI. Maybe the breaker's dead, right? I have to call my electrician. And sure enough, I found that thing, and I'm like, fuck it. The homeowners didn't know it was there. I was like, where's your GFCI for that? Like, we think it's on the back porch. Nope. I was like, by the way, if this ever happens again, click this button underneath the cabinet and
just reach in there and get in there.
Yeah, do like the Cobra thing at it.
Oh my god.
Like don't stick your finger in the receptacle on accident.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, the electrical stuff too here. And then we had remember the kitchen backsplash with the cloth wire? And they used metal boxes with cloth wire.
Ooh. Oh,
he had like half an inch of a lead to work with.
Like it was like,
and
so I told her, I was like,
and the wire had already been
electrician.
The cloth had already worn out, so the last person like wrapped electrical tape on it, so it was just arcing and shorting out. Like it was bad.
Nice.
I was like, we're not, because the idea was like, all right,
we're not fucking with it.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna do this tile job. We're gonna pull the switches out, make it nice cuts. We're like, no, we're gonna back the screws up just enough to get the tile behind it, and then put it back on.
That's when you know if the inspector shows up, he's gonna make you replace everything. So you take the screws out, you pull the panel, and you're like, no, man, we're not touching this.
Yeah, because I don't know about y'all, but
say anything.
The rule in North Carolina is if you touch it, you fix it, right?
Exactly. Same here in Carthage. Our inspector, if he sees it, you have to fix it.
Well, what's messed up is if you got like a federal breaker box and the system's that screwed up, the city will require you to replace the breaker box. So like whenever I see something, I'm like, yeah, we're not touching your electrical system. You want that switch removed? It's like, that's fine, but that's probably going to cost you about like $7,000 now, just because the electrician's going to have to replace a bunch of stuff.
I've worked on two houses that had the old, like you're talking about, the fabric and the tubes in the wall and everything.
Oh, the knob and those are worse.
Oh,
my electrician won't straight up be like, "No, I'm good."
Like, I want to help you, I do, but I don't want to.
Like, I don't want to do this to you because, like, the invoice number, the amount of zeros I'm going to put on this, you're going to be really pissed.
Exactly. the amount of permits that are going to be required for this.
So yeah, I'll be able to put my kid through college, what I'm about to do to you right now. So you don't want that.
Yeah, and I don't know about the inspectors. I don't know about the inspectors in your area, but we ran through this, especially with electrical. Is, you touch it, you fix it, right? So the inspector will come in, and the inspector only comes in as soon as they find one thing wrong. They're like, failed, fix this, and they leave, right? They don't try to look at anything else.
Right.
And it's funny, you'll repair something, and they'll find something else completely unrelated to what you touched. And they're like, yeah, you got to fix that, right? And they only do one problem at a time. So you'll have like 6 or 7 inspections, which, by the way, you have to pay a reinspection fee for before they're satisfied. Like, you just replace one receptacle, and they're like, your dryer receptacle is fucked up. And then like the exhaust vent for your stove isn't up to date.
Our inspector here, he's a good man. He almost looks like a park ranger. I mean, he looks like he should be working at Yellowstone or something, but he's very gentle, very kind man. I appreciate it. He shows up and he says, look, technically you should do these, but I'll allow this. I need these 3 things fixed, and call me when these things are done. I'll come look again. I mean, he's
our inspectors,
great guy. But he's also
an orphanage.
Try to pull something over on him because there's another contractor in town who tried to do things without the permit.
I'll be on your
ass.
Once
you're on his list, he pulls out the magnifying glass and he is looking for everything. So I'm on good terms with him. I want to
like you used the wrong size wire nut.
It's like there's two yellows. There should be a red and a yellow. Why is this?
The inspectors around here, man, they hire them straight out of orphanage, so they never feel love and compassion. And the plumbing inspectors over here, man, they're strict about those pans. They say 2 inches of water, they don't joke. They'll fucking pull their dick out and check it. I'm like, 1.5 inches. I'm maxed out. You're gone. Reinspection. In fact,
went to bed. I'm glad they're not hearing that.
In fact, my plumber, right? So we had to terminate a drain line for a tub because we were trying a tub and a 3x3 shower and a one big ass shower. So we had to terminate a line. And the inspector literally made us come back and cut 2 inches off of the pipe because it was too long. And he was like, yeah, I need about 2 more inches. And I'm sitting there with my plumber on the phone. And he doesn't know he's on speaker. And he's like, and me and my plumber are close. He's like, tell him he's starting to sound like his wife. And I was like, I was like, Carmen, you're on speaker. You're lucky he was walking to the other bathroom because I was doing 2 bathrooms over there. I was like, he needs 2 more inches, Omar. Not Omar, 2 more inches. I'm not gonna say the name on here, but he was like, yeah, most women do. No, like, Jesus, you gotta like, can you do this after he's passed me, please? Like, he's like, I'm gonna call his boss. I know his boss.
Oh, listen. We've all learned the the price you pay for putting me on speakerphone. Yeah, no, don't do that. So, but yeah, no, with the inspectors in my area, I haven't dealt with them because in my area it's weird. Unless you're literally altering something major, they don't require you to have a permit. So like a bathroom renovation wouldn't qualify unless you're like literally taking a whole wall out. Other than that, they're like, yeah, you're good. They wouldn't even like check for licenses. They're like, you're good as long as you got insurance and all that good stuff.
My guy, 2 questions. He says, is it commercial? Because you have to do permit for everything commercial. And he says, is there insulation in the wall? That's all he cares about.
Oh, yeah. They don't.
There's no insulation
inspection here.
Yeah. Because a lot of these East Texas houses, if they're older, they just don't have insulation in them.
I tell them I have to price customers for that too. Like if it's the age, it's like, listen, we're only planning to cut out half the wall to do that little ugly tile that goes halfway up the wall, but we're gonna have to tear out the whole wall. Because we have an insulation inspection, we have a framing inspection, insulation inspection, and then they do final inspection to make sure that before you cover the walls that there's stuff in there.
Doesn't even get that cold down there.
And depending on the county, like in my area and where there's more populated, they're more strict. And you go out to like the rural areas, they're like, all right, as long as you pull your plumbing and your trade permits, like we don't care if you take out everything to like the 4 walls, all right? But if you touch plumbing or electrical, we need a permit.
Yep.
So
that's pretty much
what about you, Harry? What's your situation look like? He's like, oh shit, you're getting inspections. No. It looked good to me when I put it up there. I inspected it, damn it.
Honestly, man, I haven't had to deal with an inspection since I stopped working for that contractor. So whenever I had to deal with inspectors, it was them. It was his neck on the line.
It's like they're inspecting that $100 bill I left them.
Every time the inspector came around, though, he'd be on his fucking knees. That's for sure, though. But he didn't know how to talk to. He didn't know how to get on the inspector's good sides. Unfortunately,
yes, have you had your coffee this morning?
That's what he's looking at, that outlet, and he pulls an envelope right next to it. It's like, oh, so it looks good, right?
Oh yeah, he was measuring the beam, and he put the envelope there, and he's like, oh,
okay, it's good. It's within measurements.
Actually, no. I'm sorry. No, there was 2 jobs that I had to deal with inspection. One in North Charleston, and North Charleston is really bad. Like North Charleston is a city. It's not like Charleston County.
Right. Like you paint the walls and you got to get inspected.
But North Charleston is just really like they require a lot. They're kind of like so out here you have Folly Beach, where their inspections, they need to be like, everything has to be like hurricane proof over there. So it's a lot more. They require a lot more. But North Charleston, they're just very strict, and most of the guys don't let anything slide. When I had to get those stairs that I did about 1.5 years ago, it was during the summer, where I won't get into that story, but that was just fucking ridiculous.
They don't play about stairs. A lot of places don't, man. That 3/8 matters.
But the inspector, so the first inspector that came out was like, I mean, I don't even know why we're here. This isn't my thing. Like, you know, this is a maintenance issue. It's not an inspection issue. But he told me, he was like, everything is fine. But the guy who hired me to do the work was trying to scam me for $1,000. So he's fucking pushing for more inspections. And then the final inspection came out, and or rather the chief inspector came out, and he said, just use some kind of structural ties in such and such areas, and you'll be fine, man. That's all. Like, but everything was done properly. It was just the property manager that hired me to do those stairs was trying to fucking not pay me that last $1,000. But
sorry, just take the stairs back with you.
Yeah,
like you're only getting 3 treads.
It was too late for that, man.
And it's just going to be the top 3. You don't get the bottom ones.
Yeah.
Joke.
You don't want to pay the last 1,000. You're not getting the last 3 steps. That's how it is. All right.
Yeah.
$250 a step. That's the last 4
you
steps.
know, at that point, what you should have done is like every other stair should have been a half-inch higher, just so you trip every time you walk up.
Not even a half-inch higher, like every other step a half inch, and the other one's like the opposite. So
yeah,
like,
the opposite. So like you never know what you're getting.
That's awful.
Run down that at night.
Now, how did you? So when you started your business 2019, how did social media come into play? Like, how did you get involved into this crazy world?
Like our Instagram used to just be family stuff, and then it just kind of transitioned into just showing the work we were doing, and then turned into tools and projects, and you know, people started asking me questions. I can't tell you through Facebook how many of my high school friends will message me and say, hey, this is going on in my bathroom, how do I fix this? And I actually enjoy problem solving, so I don't mind helping people with those kind of things. And that just
contractor.
It slowly worked its way into Instagram, being able to post videos saying, look, here's a trick. And, you know, we gained like 3 followers a day for years and years. And then I think it was like December 5th or December 7th, something like that. I posted a video randomly about using Windex to help smooth.
Oh, yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah, it's almost 1 million views now. And I'm like, why? I posted it at like 7:30 at night on a Thursday, which is not
no effort.
No effort, nothing. Like I was chewing gum in it, and I mean everything was wrong with it. And that's the one that Instagram chooses to send and make viral and gain 10,000.
That's like our oscillator video, Omar.
Oh yeah, so like
we have the dumbest little video that we collaborated on when I went up to New York, and I'll pull it up now. It was like an absurd amount. I mean, it was thousands of hours. So basically, the video was 14 seconds at a time.
So it's so absurd because I'm inside of a closet. There's a little trap door. On the other side is an unfinished room that we just finished tearing out, the bathroom, and he's there. And I'm like, pass me the multi-tool.
Some context. He's a Milwaukee guy. I'm a DeWalt guy.
Yeah, so he hands me a DeWalt, and I'm like, I throw it back to him, and I was like, I need hand sanitizer, and I clean my hands. So it was just a random, like, stupid. And when I uploaded, like you said, random time, we was just like very poorly edited. Like I wasn't even having anything to cut with it. It was just literally for the video. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, like I said, those are the ones where you're like 47 comments.
1.2 million accounts reached.
Yeah, 1.2 million. And it's like every 2 seconds, it was like bing, bing. You know, like they're arguing with each other. No, Milwaukee's good. No, DeWalt's the best. And
I bet you're a fucking Xbox user.
That's right. I like Nintendo Switch.
No, one guy gave us crap for throwing stuff down on the finished floor, and we were just like, "It's all right. We'll just throw another coat of poly over the OSB. It'll be okay."
Yeah.
He actually, he was a good sport about it because he was like, "Oh, nice of you to scratch the finished floor." We're like, we'll just restain the OSB, no problem. He's like, I don't know, man. I'm a concrete guy. I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's funny. Yeah, when you throw the trash and it's just accidentally lands, right?
And Harry, I can't remember what post it was. Harry had a troll too, and I think I was like, "What? Or was it Harry? Or it might have been Omar." No, Harry. I know you've had a troll that I've interacted with on your page too, Harry. But like I said, I have a tendency to just be like, "Oh, look at this situation. Oh, it's dying down. Like, give me that spray bottle of gasoline."
Right.
Your mom.
Well,
No,
I
we
keep telling
only-
my trolls when they comment and they're like, "I don't like your videos." I'm like, "Then why do you keep commenting? Because you're
Thanks for
training the algorithm that you like my content.
Yeah,
It's going to
thanks for the
keep
algo.
showing you my stuff. Click the 3 dots. Ignore me."
No, please. I'm like, come, please. I need
Right.
entertainment. So I'll just
Tell me why you don't like
for
my
instance,
content. So I can
the
start
last
caring.
video, I posted was me doing a drain for my father. He needed a temporary kitchen sink, so I just kind of threw something together. And one guy's like, "Oh, all these plumbers are all cocky." I was like, "You're a Power Ranger, aren't you? You're an electrician." He's like, "Yeah, I am." I was like, "That's something an electrician would say."
That's funny.
And then somebody interjected with the whole like, "Oh, the plumbers leave a mess." I'm like, "No, that's the electricians, bro.
Electrician.
Wrong trade." They leave
I
everything
will say
behind.
on our major remodels, the plumbers are usually pretty clean, unless we're busting up concrete, and then they're the worst.
Oh, my plumber. Yeah, he's like, I don't touch concrete. I'm too old for
No,
that
they
shit.
bust it up and they leave you with dirt and rock everywhere, and you have to clean it up. I don't.
He's like, you cut it out, and I dig it out, and I'll lay the pipe.
The electricians leave their tools. They leave the
Wires,
spare wire. They leave all their little strips sitting everywhere. They never sweep or vacuum anything.
Left their vibrator.
They leave their vibrator behind.
Huh? I didn't know Klein made that.
Clean it up after children with electricians.
It's like, I didn't know you could set tiles with this thing. It vibrates them. Cool.
It collapses the ridges.
Collapses the ridges.
It's a Bluetooth. When there's power, it buzzes. Ooh.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die. No, it's bad. With electricians, they leave a mess, but they'll never leave the wire that can go sell. That's for sure.
They just leave the clippings and zip ties.
They can leave the clippings, and even that sometimes they'll be scraping it up into a bucket.
Do plumbers own stud finders?
No, we own a hammer.
No, fucking. They just have a sawzall.
They'll have the most expensive multi.
It's just a joist.
But they don't own stud finders to actually cut drywall out on a stud. They'll just cut that shit out wherever.
No,
both plumbers and electrician won't cut a square to save their fucking life, right? They'll come in and they're like, you trapezoid. And of course, if you're a drywall guy, now you got to come back and do all that stuff. And like plumbers with sawzalls, dude, they're just like, yeah, it's just a joist.
It's just
all I know is my toilet's supposed to go right smack dab in the middle of this joist. And it's just an engineered eye joist. We'll just notch the top out. It'll be all right.
Remember me talking about climbing over that house for my neighbor? It's because whoever had installed his toilet in that old house had drilled right through the floor joist to put their 4-inch toilet drain. And so whenever they sat on the toilet, they were sitting right on that cut joist.
Wow.
Thinking.
There's a new construction house that I just did work for. Helped a buddy out. And same thing, they notched right. They let the framing inspection pass, and then they notched the stuff out. And then in the top on where the rafters are, instead of using engineered trusses, they used rafters, and it's over an inch. It's not even a shim. They put a wedge in there. It's a 1x material. They stuck in there. They didn't even glue it. They didn't even try to use an oscillator or cut it. They just it's just sticking out past the rafter, and they just put nails in it, so it's all cracked. And they're in the process of suing the contractor. But yeah, they notched through that. Like some people will like notch a U into the joist, right? All right, you're not supposed to do that, but I guess, but they like drilled straight through it, so like it's just floating there. So, and then I had a situation when I first met Omar and Harry around that time frame. It was those engineered eye joists, and they notched the top out.
Oh,
yeah, and in North Carolina, you touch it, you fix it. I'm like,
yeah,
fuck. So
you
I
had to replace the eye joist.
Well, I didn't have to replace the eye joist because it was right up against a girder. So I didn't have enough space to sister, and everything was in the way. HVAC, plumbing, electrical, the gas line was up there. I'm like, fuck. I have to tear up the next room, the carpet, the subfloor, and ended up being a pretty extensive change order. And I found a product by Metwood, and it's called an eye joist notch reinforcer. And it's this metal plate with this big half moon in it. And it's made specifically for engineered eye joists, at least that one. So you put your information on there, you pay $40 for an engineer to sign off. They send you the product, they send you the screws, and the screw pattern is on there. So I did that, I put it in. I'm like, sweet, here's my engineer's letter. Well, the inspector decided that wasn't enough. So I had to pay another civil engineer to come look at it and go, yeah, that works. And it made no sense. No, what it was is the engineer told me I can fur out the web because they had a what was it called, the rafter, what's it called, the joist hanger, right, for the rafter. I had to shim it out because I couldn't screw into that. And he was like, yeah, you can do that, just use wood glue and everything, and the screws are long enough to accommodate for that. And the inspector was like, yeah, that wasn't on the letter, so I need you to get another engineer. So like $500 later and a month later.
At least you got it for $500. The last time I had to do a civil engineer, he wanted $1,200. So
I called what was like 23 engineer firms before someone picked up the phone.
Really?
Yep. And they're like an hour and a half away, and they're like, we charge like $350 an hour, including windshield time, and like another $600 for the letter. And then and it's like, if you want it printed, that's another $200. And if you want us to sign it, that's like another $300. It's like, why you can't just write a letter and not sign it? Like, it was
at that point you should ask them how much.
Like, we usually sign it in crayon, but if you want it in pen, and it's just like I picked the wrong career. And like my engineer that I use, he charges really good prices, but every time I've used him, like if I got to remove a small 3-foot wall that I know is not load bearing, but the city requires it, he'll go in the attic, take 3 steps, look at it, like, you're good, and he leaves. $500 right there.
Yep.
So he's like half of the other people, but he's a legit. What? You can't leave. We don't give you permission.
I gotta go, man.
These Metabo guys, man.
They've
got a curfew.
They got a curfew.
I gotta go.
His nurse said he has to go to sleep now. No.
With the baby before I go to bed.
All right, that's a good excuse. We'll let it
Priorities.
Yeah. But it's been good, man. Good to meet you.
Oh yeah, we are at an hour and a half.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of holding you hostage in case you haven't noticed what's going on here.
Yeah.
You can leave if you want. If you want. No. But you don't want to leave, right?
My wife's in bed. She's a school teacher, so she's probably been asleep since 8:30. So
right, Bryce? You don't want to leave.
9:30 over there?
Yeah, it's 9:30 here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, because you're in West Texas, right?
East.
Yeah,
but
East. You're in East Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
I grew up in West Texas, married into a family here in East Texas. So
I was about to say, because I know you're like Central Texas, like 2 hours behind.
All right, guys. Good night.
All right,
take care, man. So what is all right? So that I saw this thing, and we don't want to hold you any longer. But what is the longest distance between 2 points in Texas?
Oh, good Lord!
My grandfather did that drive.
I think it is actually.
Days.
I don't remember if it's Corpus Christi or if it's Galveston, but it's to El Paso, and I mean it's easily 14.
Yeah,
I think it's 14 hours.
A couple days. Well,
I mean, depends on how strong your bladder is, but
yeah. Like my grandfather said, he drove from because he was in the Marine Corps, so he was stationed in California. So he got from California, hit into Texas, and he drove all the way to the other side. And he said it took a little bit. And my grandfather's originally from Amarillo, so he's yeah. If you ever been there?
Hours.
If you ever asked any, wait. So Bryce, when you think of Amarillo, Texas, if you know where that is, what do you think?
Cadillacs.
Cadillacs?
I think of the Cadillacs.
Oh, so everybody says the Great Texan Steakhouse.
5 Cadillacs are buried in the dirt.
I'll have to ask him about that. But no, everybody always says the great.
It's world famous. It's this very rich, eccentric guy took 5 classic Cadillacs, buried them at the same angle as the pyramids or something.
Well, that's probably the biggest thing in Amarillo, Texas. Between that and the Great Texan Steakhouse, like the 72-ounce steak.
Eat rattlesnake and gator.
My grandfather used to make the steaks there when he was we used to do a bunch of stuff
Big
over
tall
there.
Texan. It is.
You said what?
Big tall Texan.
Big tall Texan.
That's the name of that restaurant.
I don't know if it was named that when he was there.
That's the only one that does the huge, like it's a $50 steak. It's free if you eat it all in one sitting.
Oh yeah, and the record holders, if you look at the pictures, like tiny petite chicks. My grandma saw that. She's like, "Good Lord, where does that woman put all that?"
I watched somebody do that when I was there, and I was just like, no. I mean, I was a college kid at the time. I was like, I could not do that.
It's only $50. How much bigger is that?
More than that now.
Dude, half a Texas cattle farm. All right, it's 50
well, no, I
bucks.
know that you're getting a
They didn't
cow's
say it
ass
was
at that
prime
point.
cut. It's just beef.
I don't know. Tractor Supply today, there was a big sign. It said 20 ribeyes for $40. I was like, are they 20-ounce ribeyes for $40, or is it actually 20 individual ribeyes for $40? I wasn't brave
Listen, you
enough
need to stop asking questions. All right, those weren't made for literate and thinking people. All right.
Well, in Cincinnati, I lived there for a year. There was a haircut place, and it said 5 men cut.
World famous 72-ounce steak challenge.
I don't want to be the 6th.
Yeah. The Big Texan, that's what it's called. So yeah, you're right. The Big Texan.
Yeah, no, how big is the steak though?
72 ounces. And my grandfather tells me this infamous story of a customer that was being rude. So he goes back there and trims all the fat off. So after he cooks it, it was 72 ounces almost on the dot after he cooked it. Because he used to be on the assembly line. And my grandma was like, all right, smart ass, and just lays it in front of him. He was like, yeah, that fucker didn't finish that steak. He paid for that one.
Paid for it, and then he was pooping for 3 days. Good grief.
Yeah. But on the bright side, my grandfather makes some good steaks.
I'm sure.
Yeah, no, the biggest one I think is the 45 or a 48 ounce I ate one sitting. Not that big.
I haven't recovered
16 ounce. If I'm really hungry, I might do a 20 ounce, but I usually split that. So.
Yeah, I'll do like.
I'm trying to look young as I get older, and I don't need to gorge myself anymore like I did in college.
Well, funny enough about gorging yourself.
Meat, right? No problem.
Yeah, no, he's also happens to be the youngest one of the bunch. He's only 22 years old, so don't let the Taliban beard fool you.
That's hilarious.
Hey, I trimmed it up. It's presentable. I don't look all Duck Dynasty anymore.
Well,
I looked like that last summer and until August 26th. I was in Fiddler on the Roof. I was Tevye, and I had to have the full beard and everything in July and August in East Texas with 116-degree heat. That's probably the last beard I will ever grow because of that. Oh, that was miserable.
Like, I didn't shave it. It burned off.
Right.
I fell on the roof and the asphalt welded my beard to the...
I was having to do exterior siding, hardy siding on a house in direct sunlight, 116. And literally, I mean, you can go back and see the videos. I'm like, I want to pluck every hair out of my face. It was awful. So
I just get a little sweaty, the hardy fibers. I know that was itchy.
Everything. And we had to do fiberglass insulation because it was one of those where there was no insulation in the wall.
Oh, yeah, sweat and fiberglass. That's always a great combination. That is one downside with Go Board. It is.
I agree.
It smells like eggs and it's kind of itchy. But you cut it smells like eggs. But I've been working with Go Board so long, it's like I'm itchy. I just slide my arm into my sleeve and I'm like, all right, that's annoying, but it's whatever.
Well, but baby powder helps. It does. So baby powder up right before the.
That'll just suit up with a respirator and a Tyvek suit and just commit.
I just don't trim my nose hairs and it's like a filter. That's why I don't mix it.
He grabs the beard and just rolls it up to the front. He's like, I'm good.
That's awesome.
But, definitely, we don't want to. If you got things to go do, we're not going to hold you up.
Yeah, I got things to go do. Don't sleep.
Yeah, we don't. Fortunately, we don't sleep. Like, this is the part where we start brainstorming now till like 2 a.m.
This is where the credit juices are flowing. I don't go to sleep till 3 a.m.
I'm up at 4:30 most mornings, whether I go to bed at 12 or whether I go to bed at 8. So
you're waking up when I'm going to sleep.
Yeah,
I usually don't sleep till about 3 o'clock.
He's young, but yeah. So before you head out, definitely share the handles where people can find you.
Instagram, Thereallifereddells. That's pretty much it. I mean, we're on YouTube, but I haven't posted anything since that horse part in 2019, 2020. So I pretty much live on Instagram.
TikTok? No.
I did until I posted a video of my youngest daughter doing a little daddy-daughter date and the filth and the nastiness that came out of men's keyboards on that, and there's no way to block them. So I quit TikTok. I love Instagram that you can block people that are ridiculous. So
no, sounds great. Well,
it's been fun, guys.
Check them out on Instagram.
There you go.
Well, thank you for coming. I mean,
Well,
we
thank
did
you
have
for inviting me. This was fun.
a roller coaster of showers and stories, but
Next
it was
time we'll
great.
actually talk a little bit more about
ADHD, man.
waterproofing.
It makes sense to me. So
it happens every episode. We're like, oh, we're going to talk about waterproofing. Next thing you know, we're like discussing gun calibers and completely
Yeah,
something
that was a
has nothing
the
legit
to do.
spider
take.
crickets. Yeah. It's a natural.
That
progression.
happened with Josh of all trades. It was supposed to be about business, and somehow we're talking about guns. But
Oh, don't worry. Once the stream went offline, we're like, all right, now that we can't get banned off of a platform, check this out.
All right, man. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you have
appreciate
a good
it, man. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
one. Bye.